Well, it's another day and another project. This project, 1985 Corvette, antenna will not go down. There she is. Turn radio on and off. She just stays put. And I don't like that. So, got to figure out what the problem is. So, first of all, I got my factory repair manual out and looked at the schematic to find out, what colors I'm looking for, what powers the antenna. So I found the antenna, here's the radio, and I see, okay, it looks like there's a pink wire. So we're going to track the pink wire down and make sure it has power. Okay, first of all, component-wise, because you just take this plastic piece off the back, this is our little relay. So we've got several things that could be wrong. Could be a blowed fuse at the radio, not sending signal to the relay. That could be bad. Could be a bad relay. We could be getting power to the relay, but it's not tripping to send power onto the antenna. So first of all, I've done check the fuses are good. That was a simple check. So next I need to find out these wires down here, the orange, pink, and black. That's what's coming from the radio. So these wires go to the antenna. So that unplugs. Then this here, you got a little tab on the bottom. It's kind of a booger to get to. There she goes. That little tab on the bottom, you gotta push it before it's going to release. Alright, so now I'm going to hook up my tester to the pink wire, turn on the key, and see if we have power. Okay, I got my tester probe there on the pink wire, and I'm going to turn on the key, and let's see what happens. Okay, we're beeping, so that means we are getting power to the relay. Alright, that's a good sign. Okay, next step, we got to see if the power is leaving the relay. So let me hook this back up and test that. Okay, well this is a good sign, sort of. When you connect this up, you hear the relay clicking. So you can assume it's good, but you can't guarantee it's good because there's a set of points in there. It may be clicking, but maybe they're not making good contact. So once again, we'll take the tester and see if we have power. Okay, so I know from my schematic, my green wire should be the hot wire, so it has to receive power. And when it lines up with the relay, it's going to be the center one. The radio is on, so if I touch this to my little tester here, there we go. So we got 12 volts. So that way I know for sure the relay is doing its job, it's sending power. So now I know to look into the antenna. Okay, just to be thorough, because we have 12 volts on this green wire doesn't complete the circuit. We also have have to have a good ground. So I'll put my little jumper on here and run it over here to a ground. With my trusty little tester, I can confirm, yes, I got a good ground. When I push this button down, this tip goes 12 volts. So I put it in here, and the antenna still don't work. By the way, these little testers are awesome for wiring and troubleshooting. It's called a circuit probe. So it comes with these long leads. You take the leads up here, attach them to your battery. So what that means is you've always got a little lighted source. That's cool. But the more important thing is you instantly have like a power probe. So if I want to send 12 volts with this tip to the tip, I just push that button. I got 12 volts to the tip. Or if I want to ground it, I just push it back here, and the probe goes to ground. But anytime I want to check voltage, the same way, I just don't push the button, and I probe it, and it will tell me how much voltage I got, if it's positive or negative. A great little tool, especially like doing trailer lights. Man, it's just awesome for working on trailers and getting lights working. So I've done my troubleshooting. I know what I got to do. I got to pull the radio, not the radio. I'm listening to the radio. I got to pull the antenna, and if I'm going by memory right, I think I have to take the license plate out, take out this lens. I can't remember. I'm just going to start taking things apart to figure out how to get to it. Okay, so here's the steps to get to your antenna, at least on 85, probably maybe up through 89. I'm assuming they changed them at some point in time. So first of all, remove your license plate, 2 screws. Remove your backup lens, 2 screws, 7mm. The next thing is getting this light bulb released. So this may help you because you're reaching up there and you're feeling around. You got to feel for this button. Push in on it and rotate it and unlock it. Get that out of the way because you got to get this out of the way before you can get to a screw, because it's blocking a screw. So once you get that out of the way, you're going to need a 10mm socket and a 1/4" ratchet. Here we go. There you go. You'll need that. And you got 2 screws. Once you get those out, your lens will come out. So here's what it looks like on the back side, so you have an idea what you're trying to get a hold of. You got those 2 screws to loosen up. Then once you do that, then you can get in there. I don't know if you can see anything with this camera or not. I don't think you can. It's in there such an angle. Let me try it. Okay, so I've wiggled my camera in here so you can see it. So there's the nut to the bottom of the antenna. You gotta unscrew that. And then you can barely see the wires just in front of that. And there's a black rubber grommet that you can't see too well because it's around the corner. But you gotta pull that rubber grommet out, and then that'll pull the wires through. These wires here will fish through. So, and there's a couple of screws underneath. So let me get things loosed up here, and then I'll crawl underneath. Okay, so now from underneath, looks like all we gotta do is take out, I've done took out one 10mm nut. And there's one more I need to loosen up. So I get that loosened up. Don't forget to put your ground strap back on. You can see it's getting loose here. It's ready to fall out. And I hope I can get the thing out with that mast, with it being all the way up like it is. So I'll take those 2 screws out and see if I can get it fished out. Okay, next step, because after you get this loose, you'll find it won't come out because the antenna cable, which I took this other light tube out, by the way, it doesn't connect at the antenna. The antenna cable connects up here inside the car. So it took me a little digging to get that loose. And what I had to do, I had to slice this rubber sleeve here to get it to release. It had some sealant or something on it, because you gotta, because it was, let me get it out here. It was out like this. So you gotta slice that outer rubber sleeve off so you can allow the inner one to go back in that hole, so you can get enough slack to get it disconnected. I'll show you where that's at, because it was a burger to get to. I had to take the speaker out, the carpet out, and then tucked up underneath here. Gotta get that glare out of there. There's that connector. So, what's that bad glare? Oh, that's better. So there's the connector. Just twist and pull. And see, there's there. Then I'm fixing to pull back through and pull the antenna out finally. But that's where that little dude is. It's a little aggravating to get to, but we tracked it down. You can see I've almost got it out, but because the mast is all the way up, I'm having to slide it forward here to get it to come out. There she is. That was aggravating. So now I got her out, and what am I going to do? I guess now I'm going to start taking it apart and see how bad it is. Okay, it's dissection time. And I believe the original ones that were riveted together, this has screws in it. I'm assuming going back 20 years ago, I was probably into this myself, because I see sealant on here. So we got to, of course, water and stuff gets in over time. Let's see what it looks like here. Well, it's sealed pretty good. Let me get a screwdriver and start popping this apart so we can see what it looks like. Okay, finally got all these little clips off all the way around there, and got the cover off. And so now here's our innards. Now I gotta find out what is going on. I'm gonna apply power to it and just to see what's happening, if the motor's burned up or what exactly has happened. Something is not right, but I won't know until I do a little more cleanup, check these points, and see what's not working. Well, I found the problem. A brush has fell off, and I was going to show you. I can try and trick it into running. So the motor's still good. I confirmed that. The problem is, let me not short out here. Get my wires back. Problem is this little brush. Oh no, I dropped it. Great. Where'd it go? Down in all this dirt. Let me find it. Well, I can't believe it, but I actually found it. But that right there is what's left of one of the brushes. And it should look like that brush. But it doesn't, because it came off from here. So I don't suspect I can get these components. It's not worth, with all the aggravation of getting this thing apart, I don't think it's worth trying to bond it back on there just to have it come off. So it looks like I'll be looking into purchasing another antenna motor or an assembly, unless I could find this component. Unlikely, so a little research and then we'll decide what we're going to do. Well, it's been probably a month or better since I started this project on the antenna thing, got it in, been sitting around. So today's a good day to put this back together. I'm sure the wife would like to start driving her car again. And so there's the car, still got the innards all apart in the back end. But I did notice a couple of things different on this new antenna that I got. This has like a threaded connection for the antenna. See, my antenna does not have that. It bolts on like this, so I'm hoping this will work. I think it will. I'm going to take this apart. Hopefully that pin's the same diameter. The one thing I got to do, I got to get me a large screwdriver, open this collar, this plastic ring, so I can slide it up and over the end of this metal tube. Get that off. This bracket's got to come off, get changed over. A couple things, not bad, but you can see here, here's the part number. Got it from Corvette Mods, cost me $159.99, free shipping it looks like, and kind of unique. So it's 84 through 89, 93 through 96, or 84 through 87 without CB. So I did notice there's a couple different antennas, and even online there's some real cheap aftermarket universal power antennas, but they had a lot of bad reviews. And it's such a pain to get this thing in and out. I'm not going to take a chance on something like that. This does look like it's well made. Looks just like the factory part. You see all the what's left of it where I took it apart there. So anyway, I'm gonna start changing things over and see if we can't get this together. Well, you know how it goes. It's never smooth. I got to looking at this because you know how this had a screw-on type. And this is different. So first thing I did, I was a little bit concerned. I wanted to make sure I have a good connection. So I removed that rubber grommet. That was right here. Take that rubber grommet off. And I put this on just like a dry fit, and I noticed it had absolutely no friction whatsoever. It was just kind of flopping loose. And of course I even confirmed that with my voltometer. I put my meter at the tip of the connection here inside, and then to the antenna, and notice it was intermittent. It was not getting a very good connection. So in order to remedy that, put this in, put it in my vise, gave it just a little bit of a squeeze. So now when I put it on there, it does have some friction to it. I can feel that it's tight, because now when I lift up on it, it actually will lift up on the antenna. Before it would not do that. It was just so loose. So anyway, that's something to check. I want to make sure you got a good connection on your antenna. I'm not really sure what they've got on here. If it's dielectric grease or something, I'm assuming that's what that is. But I might put me some silicone or something on the outer edge. Maybe roll this white grease back into that hole as much as I can, and put me some silicone on the edge just to keep any moisture out of it. So that's my first snag, and got that conquered. Let's see what else we run into. Okay, potential snag number 2. This piece of plastic is 35 years old. And I always ask myself, how many ways can this go wrong? Well, I could break this piece of plastic and that just ruin my day, because then I can't finish this project. So I got to thinking, okay, this thing's really going to be stressed to try to get it up and over this collar. I've got it opened up that much so far. So I'm taking my heat gun, I'm going to warm it up. Then when I get it warmed up, then I'm going to finish using my little pliers here to add a little bit more pressure and get up over that collar. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do without breaking. Okay, lucky me, it did work. You can see here, got it off without breaking it. And cap's a hair bit bigger than what it was, but that should be okay. So now we'll just get this dude slides off, and this slides off. We'll transfer it over here. I'm going to take two hands and see if I can't get that ring snapped over it without breaking it going back the other way. Okay, that was a success. It worked out fine. Well, there it is. So I was able to slide that right over there while it was still warm. Got that done. I just got to transfer my bracket, get my antenna thing mounted up there. So it's one step closer. We are getting there. Okay, snag 3, 4. I can't remember what snag I'm up to, but here's something I've discovered I don't like. Of course, got this part on there, that's fine. But I got to looking at this. I thought, why is that loose? That shouldn't be that way. And then I was looking at it, I was comparing it to the old one. Look how the old one was made. So how deep it went into it. It made a really tight seal, keep the water out. Well, that's not going to keep the water out for nothing. The water's just going to run down that pipe, flow right into my little box, screw up my antenna, the mechanism. So I'm going to, because you can open that up, you can see right down in there. So I'm going to pull this back. Got me some clear silicone right here. I'm going to pump me a good bead all the way inside of here and then across the top, so I'll know that will be absolutely sealed up good and keep the water out. So I don't know why it is you get new stuff and you have to rebuild it and redesign it to try to make it last as long as possible. Alright, you see what a good bead of silicone I got in there? That may make a little bit of a mess, but we won't have any water in there. There we go. Much better. Okay, I got my bracket on. Now, that's something to be aware of, because if you weren't paying attention, if you just took that bracket off and you didn't remember which way it went, you could easily put it on backward, then you try to put it back in the car and think, why ain't this fitting? So watch how that bracket goes on there as you take it off the old, I think it's called a mast. Alright, so now I'm going to, I took that white stuff, which I think is like a top of dielectric grease, and I raked it down into the hole. Now I put me some of that really good stuff, that Permatex Ultra Black, around the edge, so that should keep any moisture out. So now I'm going to need two hands. I'm going to bolt this up and get that part done, and we're almost ready for some testing. Okay, I've got the antenna bolted on there and sealed good. Got my voltometer put on the center connection of the antenna, and then make sure we got, there we go, we got continuity, it's not grounding out. So I know we got that part good, got a good connection. Alright, so now I'm going to go back here, plug it up to the car before I actually hook anything up, just to make sure it all works. Okay, time for the test. You see I've got it up here, I got it plugged in to the relay, got the antenna plugged up. Let's turn on the radio and see what happens. Let me get back here.
Look before you are. Where's
it works, it works.
From the Monticello Banking Company Weathers.
Alright. Turn the radio back on. Alright. Now let's turn the key off. Key off. So it retracts. Alright. Now I just got to remember how I took all this apart and fish all these wires back up through there and put all this plastic back together. Well, in case you forget, getting that antenna up and out can be a booger. See, there's a hole sort of about right in here, down below. So you got to fish the antenna up through. I kind of got lucky. I shoved up through the hole when it kind of came out where it's supposed to. Somewhere. It did. Where'd it go? Here it is. There's my antenna. So kind of get the idea of how it goes. Back underneath this hole, back in there it is. You can see that big rubber bushing that uses to seal up that hole, because I'll tuck it back down in there. Alright, so this whole connection is kind of weird. It's like a push and click, and once it clicks, it's on there pretty tight. To get a disconnect, you just kind of pull and wiggle, and it came apart for me, but it's kind of a unique antenna connection that I haven't seen before. But if you have troubles, I really don't know the magic to it, besides just just wiggle and tug. That's what I did to get it apart. So there it is, put together. It's got like 3 little metal ears that stick out, and I think the wiggle and pull process is the best way to get that thing apart. I'll roll that rubber boot back down around it. Alright, so let me try to get the rest of those wires up through. Well, guess what? There's another problem. Are you surprised? Well, I'm not surprised. So anyway, I got the antenna mostly installed. Got the antenna cable connected. Then I went to connect the power wires. And guess what? This replacement antenna, the harness is too short. Look at there. Can't quite make it. So here's the original harness. Luckily I still got it. So I'm going to have to cut it, splice it into there, all that fun stuff. Another little modification I'm having to make is in order to get the wires through this weird bush, it's like a bushing inside of a bushing. And I have to carefully take my razor blade and slice that open so I'll get these wires out and I'll run the new wires through it. So that's just hard to do from here, but you get the idea. You can see, so I got the wires out, and you see the slice. So I'll lay the new wires in there. I'll put me some more of that good RTV black to seal this back together, keep out any moisture. Alright, so now I gotta cut these wires, make some connections, and get this thing together. This is turning into a long job. Okay, about to wrap it up. I've just got to get all this plastic and stuff put back together. So I got my harness extended, got that done, which I shouldn't have to, but that's what you deal with these days. Let's go underneath and see what I could point out. Any tips under here? Okay, under here we got, remind you of your ground straps. Make sure that gets connected back to, you can see where it goes to the bottom of the bracket. Start grounds the antenna. You can see how I got it all mounted up in there. Wires go way up yonder. That's all finished. You know, I did add some sealant. See if you can see it. See where the wires, the gray, green, and white wire come out. I added me some silicone sealant there because I didn't see any sealant. So I added me a dab. So keep any moisture out, keep things dry. So I'll climb back up, try to put all that plastic back together, and so I should point out one more thing. Let me show you. Huh? Alright. My light. I'm just trying to point out that antenna. It's a real pain getting that. And be sure to take that screw out, this plastic, and you can barely see the antenna. It kind of tucks down in behind there. That antenna is a burger to get to, so get that connected correctly. Don't try to run it underneath this piece. It's got to go way back behind that plastic piece to give you enough length. So alright, that's about to wrap it up. So put all this mess back together. Hope I'll have all the screws. Okay, I kind of had a senior moment. As I was finishing everything up, I put everything together on the inside. All that's done. And then I was looking at my little tray. I had these leftover screws. I said, what the heck's that for? That's not good when you have leftover screws. Then it dawned on me when I took this apart a month and a half, 2 months ago. I remembered that large nut on the bottom of the antenna. I couldn't get it loose from the inside, just going up from the bottom. So I had to take the license plate out and the tail lights out where I could get to it and get a good grip and break it free. So, but then soon after that, I put the tail lights and license plate stuff back together just so we could drive it around, even though we didn't have an antenna. So anyway, that is a tip for you. If first of all, if you can get up there and get that large nut loose, you can get the antenna out without taking out the tail lights. But it's no big deal. Just a couple of screws. You can pop these lights out, and everything's right there, easy peasy. See, just as a reminder, how easy it is. You can reach your hand up in here and get that nut good and snug. But if yours happens to be kind of loose, you might be able to get it out without taking the tail lights out. But it also gives you a little bit better access to those wires. So you make sure you get those pushed up in there nice and tight like they're supposed to be. so no water gets up in there. Alright, so now it's finished putting in the tail lights and all this. Turn it on one more time, make sure everything works, and I can go for a drive. Well, okay, it is finally back together. Now let's see if it works. Alright. Oh, listen to what's playing. Pink Floyd, my favorite. Can't beat that. Alright, so this project is over. Good, great, that was a heck of a job. So anyway, I wished I had this video to go by when I put this together, when I started this project, but anyway, that's why I made it, because I couldn't find any video online talking about this particular C4 early model and getting that antenna out and getting it back in and taking it apart and all that stuff. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.